on, headbangers? This is a very special edition of the Spew Space because what is this that stands before me? I'm going to tell you. From the Type O legacy, Kenny and Johnny, Kirk Windstein and Todd Strange of the Crowbar and Down families, and together they are I Am. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, thank you, bro.
Good. Great to be here. Well. How are you?
Good, yeah, very well. I think it's like the fourth time you guys have been together?
Third.
This is number three. Yeah, we got together sometime, I think, June or May?
Well, yeah, we did the
somewhere
first,
around June, right?
Yeah, like late June into July, and then we had the early one.
Oh, no, wait, it was one before that. It was January when we got together
in
for
Florida.
The first song, which is
Then we did the
Dreams of-
video, so this is the fourth time we're together. But the third
Well, the
time,
one was a video.
yeah, but the third time to collaborate.
So we got together in January. We created a first single, Dreams Always Die with the Sun, and then we came back and filmed a video for it, right?
Right.
And then we went into the studio a third time and recorded another 4 songs. And now we just completed 5.
6.
We did 6 songs to that one.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. We're working our asses off. Yeah. So in the last 10 days or 8 days, we had 6 songs, not down, but we got the drums laid out for them.
And the basic arrangements and stuff, but it's coming out great. I love it.
So I want to go back, if we can, just for a minute to that first session. That first time you guys got together, you're in a room finally, instruments all ready to go. Was there an hour, a half hour, 10 minutes even, when it was just you guys jamming?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I had 2 parts or 1 part of a riff. I had 2. I had like a intro riff, and then I had like a verse, and then he had like an outro that he
That was before anybody said, like, all right, guys, it's time to write Dreams Always Die with the Sun.
Right. Yeah. I just, I sent him a couple of riffs when I was back in New York, and never heard from him. And then, I got off the plane.
I was on tour.
So I was thinking, I thought it was just great. Kind of, made me think of this. And then he had a riff. So we got together in a rehearsal studio. We didn't know where we were going with this, what was going to happen. I was really nervous about it.
I was too.
I was scared shit.
We didn't tell each other we were nervous about it.
No, we had
both
to act
nervous
tough.
about it. And originally it was like I had an intro riff and a verse riff, and then he had an outro riff with a hardcore part. Remember the hardcore part?
Which I'm glad we got rid of.
Yeah, we kept trying to stick it in there, and you were like, maybe we don't need the hardcore. So it was we just started jamming, and putting it together.
So, all right, this is a question I guess I'm going to have to ask, the separate camps respectively. Kenny and Johnny, during those moments when you're jamming, did you at all look over, you hear Kirk's tone, you hear Todd's tone, and did you were you thinking in your head those are those New Orleans Southern sludge boys doing what they do right there? Oh shit, that type of thing.
When I heard the riff that he offered for Dreams Always Die with the Sun, I was just like, that's classic Kirk.
That's okay, all right.
Well, thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.
And I mean, and equally, Kirk and Todd, did you guys during that first session at any point were you just you hear Kenny playing, you hear Johnny pounding away, you're just thinking it's those Type O boys right
shit,
there.
I thought this was going to be good.
That was classic, Dad. No, I mean, it's the first session. Like we said, everyone was nervous. It was so quick, it was over before we even knew it. Right. It's like getting laid for the first time or something, But when we got together in June, it started to really gel. And then this time, like we talked about it, and it's true, I was full of good anxiety, like excitement, can't wait to get together. Not, when we got together in June, we didn't really know, but we had 10 days or something together. So we got a hell of a lot accomplished, including the Cryptomnesia song that we just played. But this time it was more like, I feel comfortable. We found a sound. We're a real band, and the guys are great. We know how to work together and write off of each other, and we know each other's personalities a lot better. Because you can know a person, but being in a band with a person is being in a relationship with a person. So it's like I got 3 otherwise. You know?
It's like, as a fan, though, we look at bands and we don't see the disagreements or little bumps here and there. We think everything with the parents is just fine and, like, we don't hear about.
Well, the crazy thing about this time is these two are waking up and they're writing songs and they're miles apart from each other.
Wow.
Like, he wrote a couple of parts the other morning. Kirk said, well, I wrote this thing. And whenever they got in the room,
it was a song. Well, now it's like, I mean, to me, as soon as Kenny opened his voice, I'm like, that's it, you're the singer. I mean, there's no questions about it. So being the singer for Crowbar and Phil and Summer does the same thing with Down. He's the arranger. He's got to, so I kind of, to me, Kenny's kind of in charge, although Johnny really became the
arranger.
You're welcome, arranger, because he's actually
you guys covered. It's all good.
He does. He's fantastic at arranging and being
like
a
you and Johnny. Me and Johnny argue a lot about whatever.
See, when me and Todd,
tempos, but you started getting into it with him the other day.
Well,
I know you guys started saying, "What do you mean? It's 6
I'm like,
times?
no,
It's
work.
8 times."
It does work.
It's not.
That was the first, and if that was an argument, wow, that's pretty
Well,
easy.
that's how it starts.
Exactly.
Wait 20 years,
Yeah, but what? Like me and Todd watch you and Johnny. It's like 2 old ladies from New York
We laugh.
going at it. We're just cracking up, Vinny and Dwayne and all. Now we get y'all, and the way
It is
y'all
a
work.
unique relationship if you're not familiar with
Like, it's
seeing
too-
us, like the
Yeah.
dynamic that we have with each other and
It's-
the way that we communicate is.
You gotta realize we laid back down here, and they like Kenny, especially, is like
right.
1,000 miles.
But you know what?
We're in a control room the other day, and this one song was kind of like hitting the wall, and we were talking about holding this one chord. I said, well, no, hold this chord because it holds more tension. He's like, there's already enough tension in this song.
Kind of like George Costanza right there.
But it's like, it's great because, like I said, we work together, all 4 of us now, and Kenny is right. I did kind of have a little bickering going on with Johnny because I thought I was correct.
A little tension.
Yeah, but we smoothed it out and figured it out. But that's what makes you.
And it became better at the end.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Well,
You
sure.
know, it was
I mean,
definitely
anything
better at
worth
the end.
Well, that's the common goal.
having
to
is
make
worth
it
working
better.
for, right? So it's like you're not going to agree on every single fucking thing, So but in general, it's very smooth and it's a great time. Like I leave the studio and I'm like in a great mood. I'm excited. I can't wait to get home and tell my wife about shit. I'm like, it's great.
But exhausting.
We laugh a lot
Yeah,
while we're working,
it's tired,
so
yeah.
It is
that's
tiresome,
important.
though.
Yeah.
The laughter and coffee for him and a couple of the guys at least, and Diet Coke for me and Todd keep us awake. Because the schedule is like
Kenny
every
needs
day.
decaf. That's
It's grueling. The schedule's grueling. It is. I mean, I'm going to bed at
Kenny
night and I'm
needs
dreaming.
decaf. That's
So, all right, like, before you guys came together for the first time as a band, was there any kind of, like, pre-discussion, a group text? Oh, shit,
Just
really?
Andrew.
Wow. So it wasn't like...
Andrew had this all perceived in his mind.
I literally, we talked about it, and then I opened my email, and that was flights. I said, well, I guess I'm going to Florida.
Oh, I called him. Well, I called Kirk. I said, man, did Andrew talk to you? He's like, not really.
So there's no, like, say, group text message or email thread or something like, all right, we're going to have it sound like this.
No.
or,
No.
I mean, there was always like talk, especially with Andrew, like what would it sound like if we got together, because he was friends with all of us, and he actually comes from New Orleans, and he did a lot of touring with Type O and with Danzig. So he always kind of curiously wondered what would, and also Jasta too, always said,
Yes.
I wonder what if you guys
speaking
got
of.
together, So there was just that, because I mean, we all write like slow, doomy, heavy riffs, so.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up Jamey, because before anybody had even heard that little snippet of Dreams Always Die with the Sun, the only info that we had about what I Am was going to sound like came from Jamey, he had the track, like I'm assuming.
I'm sure I sent it, yeah.
Oh, okay. His description of it, he had Brian Fair from Shadows Fall on his podcast, and he said, it's real, as he put it, classic rock, classic stoner rock. Do you guys agree with like that description?
Parts, yeah. It's like Kenny looked at me because Type O Negative tuned a certain way, and basically, to be honest, Crowbar stole the tuning from Carnivore and Type O and all of that shit. So we kind of looked at each other, and he's like, "How old are you?" I'm like, "I'm 58," and he goes, "I'm 57. Let's just tune the E standard, and let's." You know, we all got influenced by the same bands. It's like we're not trying to make it what everybody thinks it's going to be, which is Type O Negative meets Crowbar and Down. We want to make it I Am. And we've really found our own sound now that we sound like our own band now. And even more so, in my opinion, in this second time down in New Orleans
Especially
together.
the last few.
We got 4 songs back in June and July. We got 6 songs this time. And it's like, we really are finding our sound, you know, as 4 guys together writing and working together on everything.
So as far as like sound goes in particular, Todd, you have somewhat of an important role because many times bass is instrumental in adding to shaping, let's say, the heaviness, and especially with bands like Crowbar and on the NOLA record. Are you doing anything different this time around, or is it just the same sound out of Todd Strange that we've always known?
We're not sure yet.
So you brought up Phil before, all right? I've heard both Phil Anselmo and Pepper Keenan say of Down that, you know, historically you've been early Black Sabbath influenced, Southern rock, Lynyrd Skynyrd. But if you guys felt compelled to do something, let's say thrashy, that you would. So with I Am, if you guys felt like, you know what, we want to do something, a song, 2 songs, whatever, that maybe sounds like Maiden or maybe even 90s era Sabbath, like, you know, are you trying to stick within certain parameters, or would you?
No, quite the opposite. I think that, especially with the development of these last few songs, we've opened the doors wider to
no
as far as
restrictions.
styles and genres. And
Definitely
I
agree.
think pretty much.
I think
we
it's
even
safe
got
to
a blues-
say that we're kind of staying away from the Maiden.
Yeah.
Well, no galloping, no, but we just added, the last song we did ended up being a blues song. It's like a crossover blues song. So
Am I allowed to say that I've heard Cryptomnesia? Like,
Yes, you're allowed to say that you've heard it.
All right. I just, yeah.
You can talk about it. It's on November 24th.
All right. On November 24th, the next single from I Am, Cryptomnesia, comes out. I heard it. How about that? This is how I describe it. It sounded a lot like the Devil You Know, Heaven and Hell album with Tony Iommi and Dio, Vinny Appice and Geezer. That's what it sounded like to me. I also heard a little bit of Danzig 4-ish in it. I was telling Andrew before, Stalker song specifically, like at the end. How would you guys describe Cryptomnesia?
I think it's there's some of that later Black Sabbath influence in it. Definitely, there's a lot of progressive rock in it.
It's just, I mean, it really came together. It's probably, you know, Kenny chose to do that one first with, as far as the whole band and all the instruments. And we have, I think, 3 other songs from that session with the drum tracks done, but, you know, we'll probably go revisit them. But anyway, about Cryptomnesia, you know, it was chosen to be, I think that was, obviously, I think we thought it could have been the best one out of the last session, but it really shows, it's got all of the elements that I Am is about. There's some heavy stuff, there's some Sabbathy stuff, there's some Beatlesy stuff, there's some shit that only sounds like us. I mean, I personally think, you know, the vocals are even, there's a bit of Ozzy-ish stuff in the vocals, you know. So we're just, in my opinion, we're just heavily influenced by, you know, Sabbath, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd,
70s rock.
Beatles, and 70s rock and roll in general. And a lot of...
It's doomy, but it has a hook.
Yes. If it doesn't have melody, you know, I mean...
Yeah, we're going for vocal melody.
Yeah,
you know,
we're
whatever
really
you're doing. Not just screaming or
Not,
barking.
you know, we want it to be heavy, and we're going to have album tracks as well, like, you know, deeper cut album tracks that might go off in a different direction here and there. But in general, we are all lovers of the same style of music, which includes funk and everything else, you know. So, I mean, Johnny's funky as fuck on drums. He really is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it, but he can...
He's the 3/4 swing king.
Yeah, he can play. It's unbelievable. Absolutely. So, I mean, we don't have tunnel vision. We don't have, walls built up what we can or can't do. There's no rules. We just do what every day is a different day.
I think we've set it up to be really open.
Me too.
For possibilities in the future.
I was going to say, like, Kenny, you have the Type O legacy behind you, SilverTomb. Kirk, Crowbar, down when that happens. Todd, your contributions to Crowbar, NOLA album, Now I Am. Johnny, we don't have enough time to go through all your projects. I'm glad everybody's laughing because I planned that for months. But the fact that, like, you don't have to deliver something that those respective bands are maybe expecting, does it feel like there's like a freedom here? And if so,
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
it fun?
You hit it right on the head. Yeah, there is a freedom. I mean, we could have approached it like, we're going to have to stay in the parameters of what we've been developing, but we were kind of like rebelling against that. And
agreed, yeah.
We want to play what we enjoy listening to. I mean, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
And we kind of come from the same era, too. We grew up in the same era. We grew up with 70s music. We grew up with 60s, 70s, 80s music.
I mean, at any point during a session in the studio, we take a break, or whatever, between songs, people break into Kiss songs and Sabbath songs and Zeppelin songs, and Kenny picks up the acoustic and sings fucking Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and so it's just a great environment, it's a lot of fun, it's very creative, and
it's 100% about music when we're there.
And that exactly, I mean, we're all, we have fun, but it's all business.
It would have been the easy road to take if we had tried to do something that sounded like, Crowbar and Type O Negative.
Very easy.
That would have been the sure thing to do.
But it would have been boring.
And a lot, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be expecting that, but it's not there. There were elements in it, like you can tell, in certain parts where you could tell that there were definitely guys from Type O and Crowbar in this band.
Yeah.
But as a body of work, it's very different compared to them.
When Kirk ripped into that riff in Dreams, were you guys all like, oh?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool, because I was
absolutely,
nervous. I'm like, God, I hope they like this. I mean, Kenny sent me the 2 riffs, and I wrote it in like 10 seconds. I'm like, dum dum bow, it'd be like a cool outro or a break or something.
Yeah, it was like we were in the studio and we just we need something here.
Yeah,
and
I'm like,
we
well, I
came
got
up
this
with that
riff.
real quick, and it was like,
But
that's great.
That's a perfect example of all of us getting together, because the initial riff in Dreams Overdrive with the Sun was originally this really ambient, dirgy, dark. He turned it into Sly and the Family Stone when he got behind the drums. Like, that reminds me of Sly and the Family Stones, and he picked up the beat. So it turned into a totally different animal when we got into a room together.
Yeah.
Well, they don't share what's going on with me. I'm dead serious. It was like before we went to the studio to do Dreams, it was like, anybody going to send me something? Oh no, it's cool. It's like Kirk likes to write in the studio.
I do.
I was asking them first. I was like, can I have some, get an idea of what we're going to be working on? No, it'll be fine. You'll hear it in Florida. And so I hadn't heard anything until I got to the studio.
There wasn't much written. I mean, I had a few riffs. I had a few riffs in that first song.
That's a few more than I knew about.
I had the 3/4 thing, the fast, rapid thing that we worked on. And then everything else was written on the spot. We were there.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, that's the way that we do it with Down, is like somebody might have like one idea, but in general, if somebody's got an idea, they throw it out there and everybody just, kind of fucks around for a bit, and like some fellow hears something, what's that? We're like, oh, this, or I like that. Let's work on that, and it's, I won't say it's similar to the way that we write with Down, but it's the idea is one person having my thinking on stuff always, even with Crowbar and all, is if I come up with one riff that I know is killer, you write a song around that riff. Yeah. And that's what we do. If Kenny's got an idea, which he's got more riffs, than I do, but if he comes up with an idea, a lot of times it just sparks a quick idea off of me, and we go in a different direction, or Johnny or Todd.
There's no shortage of
ideas. We need
ideas.
a key. Yeah, I mean, it's
and that's like how each day starts. There'll be like one riff,
right,
or something, and it'll be like, and that's what we'll start with in the morning, and then the song will be built, and then by mid-afternoon we have an arrangement, and then we track the drums after that, and then
We get annoyed tracking the drums after that.
the drummer gets annoyed. The drummer gets annoyed
You annoy
tracking
us.
your drums.
I'm aware right now, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I'm aware that I'm in the presence of legends. I mean, it as a music fan,
Such strong
Nah,
words.
he's got. They're like, you're a living people. I'm like, well, I really like that living part better than the legend. I don't know about a legend, but thank the good Lord, I woke up today. Yeah.
you kind of answered my next question, was like, are you guys aware as to how big your formation is and how historically important it is to heavy music that you guys are together in a band now?
I'm not aware of that. No, look. It's like anything else. You get together, you're trying to make something, you're trying to make it as great as you can make it. You don't think about stuff like that.
Yeah, you're not thinking, you have a reputation or like a, whatever, a career, like, whatever to just like uphold or, it's nothing like that. We're just getting together as friends, making music and trying to make it as the best that we can in the moment and having fun doing it. And then, then it gets documented.
It's like Tony Iommi said. It was like, you were aware you were creating a genre and you were aware of doing this kind of such as, well, no, I never looked at it that way. He just said, well, we need a fast part now. Come on, dude. No, we need a slow part. That's how he explains it. All of that stuff just came that way, So it's just about really focusing tunnel vision on what you're doing,
To be honest, like for me, it sounds nothing like I thought it was going to sound, but in all honesty, I love it 1,000 times better than I thought it was gonna be. I love the direction that we're going in. Me too.
We're very excited, man.
Yeah.
We're very psyched.
It's awesome.
And also, like, I feel like, Johnny's saying we're not sending him any parts of any ideas, but I think my favorite stuff we've come up with is the stuff we've come up with on the spot. When
Me
we're
too.
sitting.
That's what I like. And it's no pressure. It's exciting. It's spontaneous.
It's like one part of it. Like for me, it's frustrating because I don't really have a lot of time to like really sink my teeth into what we're doing.
No, I think
so
that's
I
I understand.
So it's like you only have like what you're like instinctually going to, and like you don't have it. We don't really have the time to sit there and like really pick apart everything and be like, oh, let me try this. Let's try this.
No time to overthink it.
You don't have time. It's just all right. This is the part, and you come up with something good, and they're like, all right. Like they'll, we'll agree that it sounds okay, and then you're just trying to get a good performance out of it, and then you're all right, that's done, move on, and then they build on it, afterwards. Okay. But like to have that foundation, of course, like everything you do, like the minute I get behind the kit and they show me a riff, of course I want it to be the perfect drum pattern, like right out of the gate, and that's not always going to be the case. And then like some of the other stuff that we've heard, that's been done afterwards. Of course, like I would hear these tracks, and then I hear everything else that's been put on. It's like, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. It could have been this way, and they tell me to shut up and get over it, and that's it.
It takes courage to write like this, because you're writing it on the spot, coming up with the riffs in the morning, right? Presenting them. Putting them together, arranging them together, writing the drums, and
tracking it at the end of the day. That's it.
And that's it. You're committed. You know what I mean? And
you leave and go. Well, they go back to the hotel or Airbnb, and I go home because I only live like 2 miles down the road from here, and and all I can think about is how fun it was, how creative it was, what we got accomplished, and then like me and Kenny both say it all the time. You get any sleep last night? No, I dream about riffs, and I dream about I go home with the song from that day in my head, and I wake up with other ideas, and I pick up the guitar.
First thing in the morning, yeah, 6 in the morning.
Yeah, it's crazy, it's weird, but it's great. I mean, the
makes me appreciate the way they used to make records when they used to go to Headley Grange, and go to a castle for like 2 months to write, some of those iconic records. I mean, that's the way to do it, I think.
See, that's like he's been saying it all the whole time. Like, God, it's coming along really good. If we could just have a month in a castle, like in Wales, Zeppelin style. I'm like, absolutely. We'd have 30
I'd
songs.
like a month in a castle.
We'd have a song a day.
Cool.
Yeah, we would have
we got 2 albums at least.
Yeah, we would have a double album without a doubt if we had 30 days in a fucking castle in Wales.
Guys, this has just been so big, so enormous. All I can say at this point is, on behalf of myself and all the headbangers out there that love heavy metal and love everything that you guys have done beforehand and that you're doing now, we are grateful and we are thankful and fucking A. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, you know? Thank you guys.
Well, thank you. Man, we appreciate it.
No. The honor and the pleasure and the privilege and all words like that is mine. So, all right, I'll end this the same way that I always do. So, how do I do that? Oh yeah, that's right. If you like the video, maybe you'll give it a thumbs up. Or if you just like hearing somebody bullshit about heavy metal, well, fucking A, man, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time on Concrete Spew. But until then, stay crazy, stay wild, and stay heavy metal, my friends. All right.
That was awesome. Someone needs to say November 24th. Sorry.
Okay. No. I was gonna ask you guys.
Hey. He's got nothing to do with that, so leave JC out of it.
I was gonna ask you guys, can I just the anxiety at the beginning was like, oh, up there. Can I just like do the like intro with you guys really quick once more?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I thought you were kind of mellow, is what I've seen on your fucking podcast. To be honest.
Oh really?
Yeah. You were kind of like, I don't know, reserved.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Some furniture or something.
yeah. Go out.
But all right.
Do you want to wear the Jason mask?
No, it's okay. I'll just run through the intro real quick. But what's going on, Headbang? What's going on? Do you hear that exactly? Yeah, take two. It's actually take three. What's going on, Headbangers? All right, this is a very, very special edition in the Spew Space because what is this that stands before me? Do you guys recognize that line? I practiced
of
that.
course.
All right, good. I thought you might be like laughing and everything. But anyway, I'll tell you what it is. From the Crowbar and Down families, Kirk Windstein and Todd Strange, alongside Kenny Hickey and Johnny Kelly of the Type O Negative Legacy and the Seventh Void album and SilverTomb. And together they are I Am. And on November 24th, coming out on Corpse Paint Records, headed by my man Andrew Spaulding, the next single, Cryptomnesia. Did I say it right, guys?
Cryptomnesia. Yep.
All right, yeah.
I can't pronounce it.
I feel better now. Yeah, there you go.
And it's not about currency.
I was trying to listen. Like, are they talking about like Bitcoin or something like that? The song's not about currency, or Litecoin, or I Am Coin, or anything like that. So, all right, guys. Oh man, yeah. I guess.